Hello everyone, my name is Jesse Brooks and today I'm going to talk to you about the fantastic comic collection I chose to read for my library assignment, Giant Days. Giant Days is a comic created by John Allison, drawn by Lisa Treyman, and published by Boom Box Comics, or Boom Box Comics. It sits at 112 pages and is a compilation of 4 volumes from the comic series of the same name. The story revolves around our 3 main characters. Daisy Wooten, the shy, nerdy girl that has that naive innocence of a child thing that is sure to pop up in a group of cartoon friends. Esther DeGroot, who is the result of Wednesday Addams and the lead singer of Evanescence stepping into the machine from The Fly, and the resulting fusion came out with a sense of humor. She's also my favorite. And the main character of this group of main characters, Susan
Ptolemy.
Each volume has its own isolated story, but I want to focus on Susan's as hers is the only one to span all 4 books, and that is her relationship to this Tom Selleck fan club card holder simply known as McGraw. We find out early on that Susan hates McGraw with a passion that rivals Anakin's hate for younglings. We immediately see the snap of recognition, and it immediately becomes clear that in this introduction page that the hate is mostly one-sided. The interaction is awkward and leaves everyone on edge. A brief flashback lets us know that whatever happened in Susan's past left the relationship destroyed. Moving on, we learn a bit more about their relationship, as McGraw seems to have no real beef with Susan and is a resourceful guy. He laments on the burnt bridge after fixing his roommate Ed's keys, saying, "Some things you just can't fix," as he finds some picture of Susan he's been using as a bookmark and ending Act 1 on page 27. Act 2 spans the next 2 volumes as we start things off with the trio getting sick simultaneously. Susan, being an avid smoker, finds that she can't smoke while congested and tries to purchase nicotine patches to help her through the cravings. Only able to afford 1 patch, she bumps into McGraw and they have a nice antagonistic conversation before Susan storms off. Later, we find out a mysterious benefactor slid some nicotine gum under her door, and we're never specifically told it was McGraw, but come on, of course it was. Look at this guy. He even offered to make her a doorstop. That's what gentlemen do. Book 3 kicks off during an altercation with some lads who made a list of the hottest new girls on campus, which include dear Esther. Susan uses her latent Sherlock abilities to root through the trash of these D-bags in order to find something to use against the frat boys. Enter McGraw, who hears of Esther's plight and offers to go full Liam Neeson on the frat house, but Susan brushes off his white knighting and instead takes a picture of him to print a blanket revenge feminist magazine called Femist. The group eventually gets some parent-related vengeance on the frat boys before Act 2 closes and Act 3 and the final book begin on page 78. The 4th volume begins with Daisy's 18th birthday, meaning she can drink, and I finally catch on that this comic takes place in England. Yep, there was no other evidence to the contrary. McGraw bursts into the bar, furious at Susan as her joke magazine has been picked up by feminists and distributed far wider than what she intended, with McGraw still as the cover. Susan feels bad knowing her joke went too far. McGraw sulks, and Susan reveals her grudge against McGraw to Esther. Turns out they were childhood friends since they were 13, and they had each other's backs till the last summer of school. She wanted to move forward and be his girlfriend, but McGraw turned her down. Then the ultimate turn comes when Susan sees him dating someone else that very same summer. It all comes to a moderately satisfying conclusion where Susan helps McGraw build a piece of art called Mother and Son to fix his reputation. This act of repentance shows that Susan may still hate McGraw, but she still has a soft spot for him. The transitions of the comic are mostly moment-to-moment and action-to-action, with a few non-sequiturs in the form of flashbacks and scene transitions. The artists use primarily transitions that keep the reader in the moment and involved in the story as it unfolds. Each page has 5 to 7 panels, each layered out neatly and the dialogue flowing correctly to keep the reader on track. I never got confused in a conversation or jumped panels by accident. The page as a mini-comic works well, as the artist has several web comics that he also does, and I can sense that style come across. Each page could be viewed individually over a period of time and the story would not lose any merit. The story, as previously mentioned, takes place in England. The when is never really stated, but given the tech-savvy students, it is assumed to take place in the present time, as in the time you're in right now. Not now, the then now. To conclude this video, I would recommend anyone who grew up in those golden days of TV shows like Saved by the Bell, Boy Meets World, and other after-school shows to pick this one up. It has humor, drama, and it tackles both real issues and more outlandish situations. The art style is fantastic, and the artist actually has several other webcomics up on his website, Bad Machinery and Scary Go Round. And the artist of this comic actually drew for Disney. And the comic does continue on in several more issues. Personally, I'm going to keep reading it because I like these types of stories. Everything plays out in these kind of pseudo-realistic comedy situations that are just enjoyable to read. Thank you all for watching this video.